We know that colleges and universities do many things for students. They serve as marriage markets for some. For others, attending elite institutions, they signal high status and prestige. But one thing that all colleges and universities are supposed to do is focus on student learning. I partnered with the Council for Aid to Education, an organization that was tracking large numbers of students through 36 colleges and universities. And they were giving them an assessment of their general skills, critical thinking, complex reasoning, and writing when they started college, after 2 years, and after 4 years. And I partnered with them to say, we've got this opportunity to do some basic social science research. Let's not just give them this assessment, but let's survey them about what their experiences are while they're in college. Let's collect their transcripts and see what sort of courses they're actually taking. What are the factors associated with variation in student learning? When we got the data back and began to analyze it, we were immediately struck with a surprising pattern. And that is, we found that large numbers of students were doing very little in terms of academic engagement while they were in colleges and universities. We asked students, how many courses did you take where you were asked to read more than 40 pages per week on average? And 32% of the students came back and said, not a single class. And half of them came back and said they didn't have a single class where they were asked to write more than 20 pages over the course of the semester. And so we have large numbers of students that are able to navigate their way through college and university with very limited academic demands, and that was a surprise to us. We also asked them a basic question about what they were doing in college in terms of their time use. What many people would expect is that full-time college students would be spending 35 to 40 hours a week in academic pursuits. The typical college student today spends 15 hours in labs and lectures and 12 to 13 hours per week studying. Only 8 hours studying alone. That adds up to little more than an hour a day. That studying 12 to 13 hours is half of what studying was in 1960 for a full-time college students. And you would expect such students not to do very well in terms of their grades. We found the opposite. We found that they had a grade point average of 3.2, closer to a B plus than a B. So it doesn't take very much to get a B or B plus today, the same kind of effort that might have earned you a gentleman's C a generation or two ago. We interpret these findings to suggest that professors today have very low standards of today's college students. The test we used to measure students' progress from when they started college throughout their academic careers was the Collegiate Learning Assessment, a test that measures critical thinking, complex reasoning, and the ability to communicate in writing. These are the skills the vast majority say college is all about. It's also the set of skills that will serve a student well as they move from job to job, occupation to occupation, industry to industry throughout their life course. Given the limited academic rigor that these students are experiencing, when you measure their growth on a standardized assessment from the beginning of their freshman year to the end of their senior year, 36% of students don't move up even 1 point. The more hours you spend studying alone, the higher your gains were on the CLA from when you started college to when you ended college. We found, however, the opposite pattern for students that were spending time studying in groups. The more hours students reported studying with their friends, the lower their test scores were. What social scientists have learned to do is partition variation, see how much is within institutions, how much is across institutions. When we did that with our data on the Collegiate Learning Assessment, we found that 23% of the variation was across institutions and the rest was within institutions. Some schools do a better job at producing student learning than others. However, more importantly, we found that the majority of variation is within colleges and universities. Students can pick courses, pick demanding professors, apply themselves, and learn at tremendous rates no matter where they attend. They also can do the opposite. Even at the best of institutions, they can basically squander their 4 years and not apply themselves and learn very little. We've tracked these same students that went through college into the labor market. The students that had done better when they graduated on this CLA actually fared much better in terms of avoiding unemployment, not being stuck in a dead-end, unskilled occupation. These skills matter. Institutions have competed for students over the last few decades and their dollars, their tuition dollars, by competing through amenities, new dormitories, new student centers, a range of student services. They've disinvested in full-time faculty and in academic quality. What these findings drive home for institutions is that they need to refocus attention on student learning.